Oedipus's blind obsession with discovering the truth can be regarded as what Aristotle calls his tragic flaw or error. According to Aristotle, every hero in tragedy has a specific characteristic which causes their downfall. He refers to this as hamartia, which means literally missing the mark. One might think of this as a kind of defective character, such as someone who is arrogant or mean-spirited, but it's not necessarily a purely negative character trait or one that indicates a nefarious person. Instead, one can miss the mark due to ignorance. Moreover, the characteristic in itself can be a good one, but it's only when it is applied in an excessive way that it becomes something negative. The desire to learn new things is not something bad in and of itself, but when it becomes a driving obsession that must be satisfied at the cost of everything else, then it becomes destructive. So also in Antigone, Creon's loyalty to the state and Antigone's reverence to the laws of the family are not negative qualities. They only turn negative when they are pursued in an obsessive, one-sided manner. Here we see, once again, the Greek concept of balance and harmony that we discussed in connection with nemesis. Every individual consists of a set of qualities which are positive when used in the right measure. But when there's too little or too much of something, then things become problematic. For example, bravery is a positive concept. If there's too little of it, then it turns to cowardice. But if there's too much of it, then it becomes foolhardiness or recklessness. So the correct course is the middle one, whereby one has just the right amount of bravery, but no more and no less. According to Aristotle, true virtue lies in the middle of extremes. Modesty stands between vanity and humility. Friendship stands in the middle between flattery and quarrelsomeness. Generosity is the mean between miserliness and extravagance. According to this view, any of these virtues can tip over into vices if they are exaggerated either to the one side or the other. The key is to find the right balance. This is what is referred to as Aristotle's theory of the golden mean, which he discusses in the Eudaimonean Ethics and also in books 2 to 4 of the Nicomachean Ethics. To capture this sense of the correct measure, Aristotle uses the Greek word sophrosune, usually translated as moderation. Aristotle's theory can be said to develop and systematize one of the maxims inscribed on the Temple of Apollo at Delphi: nothing in excess, mende agon. In a sense, one can say that the tragic flaw is potentially both a positive and a negative character trait, depending on the measure in which it is applied. So Oedipus's knowledge and desire to learn is in principle a good thing. With it, he solved the riddle of the Sphinx and saved Thebes. But in excess, it turns into a bad thing, a character flaw. In Greek tragedy, the character exhibiting this flaw suffers a downfall. Tiresias confirms that it is Oedipus's strength in answering riddles, that is, in discovering the truth, that destroys him. There's a symmetry involved in the nature of the flaw and the downfall. In the tragedy Antigone, Creon does not value the family in an appropriate manner, and so in the end, he loses his family. Similarly, Antigone does not value her country, and in the end, she loses it. Likewise, Oedipus's self-identity is built around his knowledge, which he's so proud of, but in the end, he is ignorant about the crucial aspects of his family life, and this ignorance leads to his demise. The theme of the value of knowledge is portrayed in many ways in the work. Tiresias is a blind prophet, but yet he can see the truth clearly. Oedipus, who can see, is blind and ignorant of the truth. In his discussion, Tiresias rebukes Oedipus, quote, "You have your eyes, but see not where you are in sin, nor where you live, nor whom you live with," end quote. In the end, he concludes, quote, "You know nothing." At the time, Oedipus is outraged by this, since he believes that he, after all, is the most knowledgeable of people. But at the end of the work, he recognizes the truth of Tiresias' words and repeats them, saying that he was a, quote, "father seeing nothing, knowing nothing." He puts out his eyes as a symbol of his ignorance. Blinded by the pride of his knowledge, he was ignorant and saw nothing even when he was told the truth. And when the play closes, he is literally blind and sees nothing, a constant reminder of his moral failing.